you know, the more that we can open our minds, the more that we can get off of this stupid right-left paradigm, the better I think that we will be in all aspects of our lives. Hey everybody, how you doing? Guess where I am? SpaceX in Boca Chica, Texas. Amazing. It's literally like, it feels like I can touch it from here. It's only a couple hundred yards, and it's the perfect backdrop um, to what I would like to talk about today, which is a brand new paradigm for for perceiving political discourse, political parties, um, all of this name calling that's going around. You know, if just freely throwing out the words of of Nazi and Hitler and fascist, and people have no idea what they're talking about. And honestly, part of that has to do with the really bad way that we're perceiving um, the political spectrum, which is simply linear. We're going to go 3D, we're going to go 4D on everybody here. And maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know. But it's something I've been thinking about, and something that feels good, something that feels right. And so there's a couple other series that I'm going to be coming out about this new paradigm, about bringing our lives and our perspectives and our, you know, relationships and all that good stuff into the new era of humanity. We're going to break these old models, but we're going to also substitute it with something really, really special, and that brings out the best in everyone in the best of ways, okay, and in the simplest of ways. And I don't want to give a spoiler, but it's basically through our neurosensory motor programming. If you want to learn more about that before I get to it on these videos, you can go check out my locals page here, Now Living Today, or go to my webpage, nowliving.today, or Neurotraining for Optimal Wellness on YouTube. So enjoy yourselves. There's a lot of stuff out there. I've been doing this for a while, and so anyhow, the new perspective. Okay, so right now, um, in a sense, both sides are spitting out a lot of names at each other, you know, Maoist and communist and Marxist, which you know, there's some proof for, and at the same time, you know, the left is calling out the right for being you know, these fascists and nationalists, ultra nationalists, and all that good stuff. And there's always a little bit of truth. If it's gonna be a good lie, you're gonna have some kind of a little bit of truth in there. But hopefully, at the end of this video, we're going to be able to bring to the table a whole new level of breaking down this right-left paradigm, which is absolutely a disaster. It's simply a simple linear equation, okay? We have the right in the United States. The right is considered, you know, we'll take the extreme, the nationalists, right? Which would be, you know, the guys bunkered down in their you know, 40-acre place up in the Northwest, you know, which everybody has the right to do that, you know, and basically saying that the government should only exist for basically shuffling a little bit of paper around and shouldn't have anything else to do with anything about our society. We have the left, who says basically that, you know, the Maoist that says that nobody is actually capable of taking care of themselves by themselves, and so they need the government to step in to do it. And so, so the government's going to tell you when to brush your teeth, when to go to the bathroom, and everything else. So, and that's what's happening actually right now in China, unfortunately. So, you know, and that's not the case as far as the right is concerned, or the right. I'm getting embarrassed. So, as far as the right is concerned, here in the United States, they're not going ultra sort of nationalist. and demanding that they shut the government down and everybody buys a weapon and bunkers down. They're allowing a choice, and everybody has that free choice, and so that's it, you know. But in any case, I don't want to defend either side. I want to bring a new perspective. And what kind of is hard to understand is how the scale has been moving over the years, right? I mean, the dead, you know, the Kennedy um, sort of left, it doesn't exist anymore. I mean, Kennedy, with his belief that the people should actually take control over the government and should take their part in their lives and in the in the economy and in the schooling and everything, right? Kennedy was a big proponent. It's like he is now the right. So even on the right, today they're talking about, you know, that some healthcare provided by the government is a good thing, right? And that you know, we need to you know, definitely entertain that idea and not just immediately throw. That obviously is completely against what was happening back in the 60s. So the scale is sliding all over the place, right? And and it's hard to really keep an eye on what is actually center. What does that mean? And we get to a really big problem when we talk about Hitler, okay? Because Hitler was a national socialist, okay? So he was a socialist, extremist, obviously, right? And a right nationalist, obviously extremist. He wanted to conquer the world, okay? And root out anything else that wasn't, you know, this perfect blonde-haired, blue-eyed German idealistic thing that he was putting up on the posters, which he obviously wasn't even himself, right? So anyhow, he was radical, he was extreme, he was fanatic, and you know, all the other psychological terms that go along with these kinds of personalities that I'm sure there are people better at describing it than I am. And this is where the whole problem breaks down, is that when you have Hitler on both ends of the scale, then, and the only thing uniting them is an extreme personality, an obsessive, compulsive, you know, and again, all these terms of people who are pathological in their behaviors and are not capable of actually discerning anymore about, you know, any empathy. There's no kinds of understanding about what I know, that I have to kill millions and millions of people in order to bring forward other. That's extreme. That's obviously obsessive. And so I don't know, I'm sure there's other people who can describe this better, but we have tied to the extremes of the right and the left this kind of a behavior, and we have one personality finding himself on both ends of the scale, which cannot exist, okay? This paradigm, right, left, linear, you know, two-dimensional paradigm has to end, because it's not complete. And it came to me a while ago that the only way to do this is by joining the ends. And so then I realized, oh, so if we create a circle, we have a center right and a center right and a center left. And at the bottom, where the extreme personalities meet from both the right and the left, exist a hairline from each other. And that is how we can easily explain an Adolf Hitler. That it's more his personality trait than his actual ideological belief. It could have been anything that he believed in, and he was a fanatic. He would have just twisted it somehow. And so on the other side, you know, the opposite of a fanatic would be somebody who's more open-minded, maybe to a fault even, right? Has maybe a harder time to have a position, and is kind of willing to go along with whatever is being proposed. But what's nice with this model is that we have now each side of the scale that can be easily understood. Is this more of a radical idea in the sense of how many people is this going to hurt and how many people is this going to help? Are we oppressing folks or are we liberating folks? And that's where this scale goes nicely into creating a much more sort of higher resolution picture of what politics is, because um, that's, because the right isn't all fanatic and the left isn't all fanatic either. And until we can discern that and take that out of the public debate in a kind of clean and functional way through through a model, I believe this could be a good one. Then any kind of civil discourse, any kind of real advancement in our society is going to be really difficult to achieve. So I realize though that now we've brought it to 3 degrees. I'm sorry, to 3 dimensions, but yet we haven't really taken into account. I'm sorry, yeah, 3 dimensions. So we haven't really taken into account an even greater ability to perceive politics, because we don't just have right and left, do we? We have Christians, we have atheists, we have the environmentalists, we have the the people that are the corporatists, I guess you could call them. And so we have all of these opposing, all these parties, right? Party alignments. In the United States, not so much, but as soon as you step outside of the United States, there's at least 8 to 10 different parties competing against the public, against each other for the vote of the public. And as hair-lined as they might be off of each other, they're their own party. And Italy is the worst with, I don't know, 100 and something parties. And so what I realized was that we could actually add another wheel to this and bring it truly into the 3rd dimension. That now we've got a sphere where, for example, we could have a sphere with religion, a sphere with religion in the back here, and in the front, we could call that atheists, okay? Or maybe better sort of represented through science, right? Where science has become the new God, and people are looking to science for their reason to live and their reason to be and their existence, rather than looking to the church. And so those are truly in opposition. And so now, by doing that, we can even refine even greater where on this sphere we're actually, we can locate a person. And it makes the debate far more colorful, far more intricate, and far more real, because that's the reality, right? So we can divide it more or less like in the United States, where we have, a left and a right. Or we can divide it up like so many other countries do into all these different other pieces of this pie, of the global pie, right? And in opposition, and so we can trace a person through this map, and that really starts to raise the resolution of the conversation about politics, where a person actually stands, and some kind of ability to be able to discern between a person's personality and their fanaticism or lack of fanaticism, and how sort of balanced they are. So I believe this is starting to bring some kind of sanity and truly represent sort of what it is that we're actually talking about. Many times in society, we're so happy with simple, easy solutions, and sometimes, elegant solutions, though they may not be the norm, are to be found. He's making tin cans over here, okay? He's making tin cans that fly and then land again. So, out in the open, in the salty ocean air that's humid and heat. I mean, I don't know how anything is holding together over there with all this salt and corrosion happening, but it's amazing. In the face of everybody in the world, no secrecy, no nothing, he's making, grain silos that have big damn motors on them. And, they're putting satellites into the sky and then landing again. So sometimes the answer to very complex situations, like Elon Musk always says, we'll keep this sort of associated with him, is the best part is no part. So the common denominator, the smallest common denominator, is always what we're going to be looking for. And so in a sense, we're making a little bit more complicated because we're bringing it into 3 dimensions. Something that is so damn simple that, even the stupid guy on the street could understand it, right? Because we're just so stupid, us guys and girls on the street, that we could never understand anything like this, so complex, right? But the fact is that it's so natural, it's so real, that it just resonates with everybody, and we just get it, in an instant. And so sometimes complexity actually doesn't have to be difficult and strenuous. Sometimes complexity can be actual making things easier, where he's actually trying to do something very complex, Elon Musk, by having rockets return to the Earth. But look at, after that first battle of getting some things done, it's everyday food now, right? Like smartphones. Look what Steve Jobs did with that. Nobody knew they needed a smartphone, but who doesn't have a smartphone today in the Western world? It's just ridiculous. And kind of interesting, right? I don't know. I really don't think this is finished. I really understand that there's a lot more that can be done with this, because I am not a science, political science major or a psychiatrist. So I'm sure that there are people who are both or one or the other can take this model and do far more interesting things with it than what I've done. There is one more thing, however, that I think needs to be spoken about. And this goes in the face of what Elon Musk is doing, which is spirituality. I truly believe, and one of my videos coming up here is going to be about it, believe that all of this tech that we're developing is purely an externalization of what the human is actually already capable of doing. What do I mean by that? So, this long distance communication between people without any physical connection. I think everybody already knows what I'm talking about. And this kind of connection humans have had since the beginning of time. And in the so-called sort of undeveloped areas of the world, it's more prevalent because they don't have so many distractions, because then they're able to perceive their natural abilities. Some people are more sensitive than others, but it's a natural ability of the human to have these telepathic abilities to connect. We know the CIA and FBI and all these guys were using it, they're still using it, to gain access to top secret files locked away in these places in around the world, and these people will go in with their minds and actually view from a distance these documents. So we know that. I mean, it's all out there, everything is proven about that. So I am very extremely interested in doing everything I can to combat the connection of the human or any biological being with digital, silicone, mineral consciousness. It's bad road to head down, and it leads only to suffering and the diminishing of the human experience. Now, it may seem like so many people, anyway, so people are talking about, Neuralink, it's so important, this and that, for helping with this and that. Well, you know what? maybe if we took medicine, we took big pharma out of government, then a lot of other things could come in, so that, you know, we could actually show, because I'm a natural therapist, I've been doing this for more than 30 years, and some of the stuff I'm doing is actually groundbreaking in the ability to hack the human mind and to actually reprogram our genetic origin of thinking, of behavior, of posture, organs. And so I've seen it happen. I'm not just speaking from a theory. I'm not just speaking from a good idea or a good heart and I want to help. I'm speaking from pure science, pure results. It's been proven. We've done it again and again and again and again and again. I've taught people to do it again and again and again and again. And that's it. You know, you don't have to have any psychic abilities. You don't have to. All you have to be is, you know, have a little bit of empathy and help people do these movements. But anyways, to get back to what we're talking about here, spirituality. So the true spiritual sort of seeker wants to go beyond, in a sense, this sort of polarization of personalities, of perspectives, of ways of wanting to live and to. So, in a sense, we want to go beyond it, but the problem is so many times we're looking beyond means outside, whereas when I'm talking about going beyond, I'm talking about going inside. And inside means to shut our eyes, to close our eyes, to get our breathing working properly, to quiet our mind, and tune in to our biology. Because through our biology, through our neurology, is where the information from our soul is going to come. Okay? Our soul has to go through our nervous system in order to become conscious thought. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. This is the experience that, I believe, God, a something, creator, intended, that this body, this sacred body, was meant to be an avatar for our souls. And you know, too many times we're connected to the body experience and we never take time to appreciate the spiritual experience. Now, I'm against, I used to be for it more, this idea of accessing the spiritual world and using it to experience. I believe it's more important to be present in this world. I believe it's more important to appreciate that this experience that we're living through is what our souls actually are desiring, but it's not who we are. We are our souls. We know our bodies remain here and our souls continue on their journey. And so in this sphere, it came to me that this light in the center should be also a point of reference for anybody who's interested in truly seeking what it means to be existing here on this amazing planet. I mean, look at, I'll do a little sketch. It's just so beautiful. And you know, if it doesn't make you cry, or at least stop and just drop your jaw sometimes, the beauty that is around us, and the love and the caring that is around us, that excuse me, that it's not just about survival of the fittest, and it's not just about, you know, predators and victims, right? There's so much more depth and understanding to what it means to be living in this existence. And so placing spirituality in the center gives us also what could be considered maybe like a fourth dimension. So now we can actually get off of the surface. We're polarizing, right? There's still distance, and as we go deeper into the center, now everything is equal distant. Now we can appreciate all different perspectives. We can appreciate that, and then we can truly take an honest and you know, deep, heartfelt position of what is best for the general well-being of everybody. There is nobody who's going to be sort of perfect. You know, we can't perfectly create a world equal and just for everybody. It's not possible unless we go to our smallest common denominators. Okay, denominators, because it's not just liberty, freedom, and justice for all. Liberty to speak my mind. Freedom that I can protect myself and my family and my property from other people encroaching my freedom. Right? How about justice? An equal justice system where the law is blind. Now we're starting to be able to understand what the original founders actually intended and what they maybe were hoping for. I believe that. I'm not convinced that that there's ever a perfect time where somebody in the future can look back and say, oh my gosh, there was absolutely nobody being prejudiced against. There was absolutely nobody being pushed out of society. There was absolutely nobody who was opposing somebody else in society with their ideas, believing that they have the truth. Okay? In the past, there might have been slavery. That was one of the things that was being opposed on others. And by the way, there's more slaves today than there was back then. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go look up on YouTube Syrian open slave markets. Okay? I personally have met black Nigerians in Italy, okay, that passed through Libya and spent actually time there before coming to Italy, and have told me of the absolute atrocities that are being perpetrated on these black Christians. Like, I seriously can't tell you what women are going through there and what the Muslims are doing to these women. I mean, if I would tell you, you'd be like, it's absolutely impossible. So I'm not even going to say it because it would just take away from any validity of anything else I'm saying. But I can tell you, I heard it first from the man who was there and saw it happen. Okay? So this is not a video I saw. I had a beautiful man from Nigeria telling me himself what he saw happen to women, but also the slave markets, and he had to escape. So, and he was lucky to. And oh my God. So anybody who went through this past period with COVID and thinks that the oppression that you put everybody else through because you were following the science, that you're not without some sort of guilt, regardless if you did it in goodwill or not. You were shaming, oppressing others with your idea of what you believed was the proper way to go. We know today that the vaccines, they don't stop transmission and they don't stop infection. So everybody who you were shaming the most, excuse me, everybody that you were kicking off of Facebook and everything else, destroying their lives, they were right. And not only that, we're seeing that that vaccine is probably more than likely hurting young men, especially young men. And who knows what it's doing to the children if they ever really start vaccinating the kids. So there is no time ever in our history as human beings where there haven't been people attempting to oppress other people with their perspectives. Everybody in that moment believed that they were right. Everybody in that moment had good science behind them, belief systems. Back, maybe it was the church. These are unholy. The science. Yes, the Africans have a brain that's built in a certain way and they're not capable of, they're not really as high level. Jesus. Mary, help us, okay? That today, people don't see that. And so, as we work towards the center of the sphere, we leave, depending upon how far we can go. I'm not saying I'm anywhere near the center, okay? But I'm at least, I understand that I'm not. I know where I am on the map, okay, more or less, right? More or less. And I'm not in some kind of illusion or you know, uh, fantasy land about what you know, I restrain myself from opposing my opinions on others because I know that's a wrong thing to do. Self-restraint, okay? So I am capable of self-restraint, okay? And because I can't start imposing myself, I can offer them. I can say, would you like to try neurotraining? Would you like to download Neurofunk, the app from nowliving.today, and start neurotraining, help your kids? I can offer that, but I can't go around saying, hey, you have to get on this, otherwise you're destroying your children and you're ruining your life, and come on, okay? So, you know, this is where we have to go. If we're going to leave this planet, we can't leave polarized. We can't leave with all of this hate. If we're going to leave this planet, we have to leave with a huge amount of curiosity, a huge amount of courage, and a ton of empathy. And not only that, I believe a connection to our spiritual selves. Okay? And so, there you go, folks. That's my 4D model and some arguments about why I think it's valid and sustainable, and would create a better way for people not only to intercommunicate, but also to be introspective, to also be able to be in a more refined way, understand themselves, to work with themselves. And this is always a good thing. When we limit the way, you know, sort of we're able to move and even intellectually, then that limits our internal dialogue as well. And so it's super important for me to offer all of this, that we expand our view, we truly open our minds to be able to perceive as much of reality for what it truly is, in order to be able to understand the most about ourselves. And if you have children, to, you know, gain all of the teaching that they're giving to us, because they're just reflecting back all of our shit that we're not dealing with. Our partners that are more than likely the exact opposite on the same spectrum as we are. So, you know, our shadows, each one of us is a shadow for the other. So being able to truly respect each other for sort of that attraction, because I believe that's where humans attract, is on that psychological rather than the physical. It's a telepathic way that we have, even at first sight, of seeing a person, that they have exactly what we need to release within ourselves, but what we're most denying. And so, you know, the more that we can open our minds, the more that we can get off of this stupid right-left paradigm, the better I think that we will be in all aspects of our lives. So with that, I wish everybody the best of life that can give, you know, that you could ever expect, and all of my love and courage and support in your getting there. Okay, so I look forward to comments. I look forward to you telling me I'm stupid, and I want to hear it all down there so we can keep this thing going. Okay, I love you guys. Bye bye. Look at how beautiful this is. It's huge. That thing there is 210 feet tall. Just the rocket. Thanks, Elon. Bye, guys.